The Warren Commission was, the commissioners were appointed by President Johnson to investigate the Kennedy assassination right after the assassination. And they came out with the magic bullet theory, the lone gunman theory, and case closed. It was all done. And you know what? When you see that man's head snap back from a frontal shot, because Oswald was behind him. So when his head snapped back like that, don't believe your lying eyes. Don't believe it. We have the scientific method that is going to tell you that Oswald fired 4 shots. He was the lone gunman, and it was pure bullshit. It was such bullshit, in fact, that about 15 years later or 20 years later, the House actually investigated the assassination of President Kennedy, and their report, their findings was there was a conspiracy. They overturned the findings of the Warren Commission. And nobody knows that. You know, if we get 100 people in a room, a very large percentage of them are still to this day going to say that Kennedy was killed by a lone gunman named Lee Harvey Oswald. Many people from my generation who lived through it are going to say lone gunman, lone gunman, lone gunman, because it makes them feel safe. Because a conspiracy means that a group of people got to see a lone gunman's a crazy man. Oh, crazy man, crazy man, crazy. We don't have to pay attention. We don't have to come to grips with what just happened. The murder of our president on a bright, sunny day in a major American city. We don't have to come to grips with it because it's just a crazy man. The fact that he was an ex-Marine, had defected to the Soviet Union and lived there for many years, had a Russian wife. Forget all that. Forget all that. Unimportant. Let's not look at any of this seriously. Let's just close the book and go ahead and make money. Well, the House investigated, and they came out with their findings that this killing of President Kennedy was a conspiracy, or was very likely to be a conspiracy. And you know what's so interesting to me? For all these years later, no one ever went to jail. The investigations were dropped. Most people still think it was a lone gunman. And the implications of that assassination, which broke the heart of America, destroyed the hope of the post-war generation, which confined us in fear of our lives. Because if we stepped out of line, hey, if they can kill a president, who the hell am I? Right? So everybody got real quiet, real selfish. Everybody went to work, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And a bing and a bang and a boop, and here we are today. But that killing suppressed us, duressed us, and set us on the path. So it's Eisenhower to Truman to Kennedy to Biden. And when we start to come to grips with what this line of reasoning, this line of dependence on science, the belief in all things scientific are true and good, that science always brings progress, because science was used to justify the lone gunman theory. It was all about science. They rolled the science out 1,000-fold to prove to me that it wasn't a conspiracy. Because if it had been a conspiracy, we would have had to investigate who the conspirators were and why did they conspire and why did they kill that great young president. But it all got covered up. And it is carried by every single American. If you don't think it's affecting you today, go ahead. Deny it. You have to really work to find in yourself the fear that's associated with if you step out of line, you're going to get beat to death or shot or imprisoned. But our society runs with the fear, the state power to suppress and kill resistors or dissenters. And that is so antithetical to the American Constitution. What is our Constitution, essentially, is a document that protects the rights of the minority against the power of the majority. And it is a document that stands against the globalism of the British Empire. I want to say it again so I hear myself. We live in a constitutional republic that was set up to defend the rights of minority human beings such that they could pursue the well-being of happiness against and to protect us against a globalized empire that engaged in slavery, drug business, and piracy. And our founding fathers tried to carve out a world, a New Jerusalem here in the United States, where people could pursue faith and the ownership of land and well-being, and to throw off the business model of Europe, the colonial enterprise of Europe, which is piracy, drugs, and slavery. So think about our current situation here in America today. We're wage slaves. Now, that's not as bad as horrible slavery, but there's slavery all over the world, real slavery. And in our country, we're all working just to put food on the table. It's wage slavery. Our country is overwhelmed by drugs, both legal and illegal. And piracy is afoot. It's called inflation. Inflation is stealing all of your net worth. So, thank you for listening. This is the Professor Penn podcast. I'll be with you regularly. I'm forming a community with you. This is about understanding the past, knowing how we got to where we are today, picking a direction for the future. Please subscribe to the channel. Please press the like button, and I look forward to seeing you soon again. Have a very good day.